Do you ever wonder how great leaders in the community make things happen? When they encounter new, unexpected challenges like a pandemic, how do they continue to successfully make an impact? Welcome to That Sounds Terrific, the podcast that connects you with these amazing people. Get insights on what they do to meet their goals, find out how you can help them in their mission, and learn their methods so you can be more successful at what you do. Welcome to That Sounds Terrific with host Nick Koziol.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Joining me today is Ann-Marie Orlowski from Cradle Beach. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, Nick. Thanks. I appreciate having me. I know we've talked about it for quite some time. We're glad to make it happen.
Yeah, it has been quite a while since I've even been in touch, and then we kind of swung back a few weeks ago, and I said, "Oh, we got to do this." So I'm so glad that you're here. There's so many things that you do and Cradle Beach does that I just fell in love with a couple years ago when we first got connected. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about Cradle Beach and what you guys are?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a nonprofit charitable organization. We've been around for 136 years, since 1888. Really, our origins really started off as the Fresh Air Mission, where back in the day, um, children and infants and babies would be brought in from the inner city where there's a lot of disease, right? That was back in the day when typhoid and cholera and a bunch of the diseases were really taking children's lives and really putting them at risk. And so the mission back then was really bringing children out to the country and experiencing that fresh air, where the measurables back then was really their weight. What
Mm,
did they weigh before they came, and what did they weigh after 2 weeks of being out in fresh air and out in the country, and really making sure that they were fed, they had great experiences, and before they went back home. So it really started way back then. Over the years, in the mid 40s, we became a fully inclusive mission where we served children from economically disadvantaged and at-need communities, to also including children who had a variety of different complex physical, developmental, and various disabilities. And so we've been fully inclusive since 1946, and our mission continues to revolve around inclusion today.
oh, that's so cool. I had not realized that it had been that long. I knew it was a very long historical kind of history that you had, but not that long. That's awesome. And so I'm sure you have a few more metrics than just weight from now that you keep
Yeah.
track of now.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. We have really evolved. Our North Star is what most of the folks in our community know is our Cradle Beach camp, right? It's our
Mhm.
66-acre campus on the beautiful shores of Lake Erie in Angola. And that our campus has grown over the years, to being seasonal in nature, to then being year round. And so not only do we have our North Star of our summer camp, but we also offer respite. It's
Mm.
overnight respite on the weekends, on designated weekends throughout the course of the year, and also retreats and respite groups who are able to, we're partnering with other nonprofits and schools and partners to be able to take advantage and really kind of grow into their best selves as well here on our campus.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I've had the privilege of visiting, and I fell in love with the campus. I mean, it is such a beautiful site, and you guys have so many like gems all around that place. So that's very cool. Um, you had mentioned like off the air, that you had an interesting background that kind of led you to where you are now, and I'd love for you to share that a little bit.
yeah, thank you. So I often consider myself a graduate, an alumni of the child welfare system.
Hmm.
As as a young child, around 6 years old, I was placed into the foster care system with my sister at that period in time, and was in foster care for 7 years before ultimately I was adopted by my foster parents at that time. My sister's journey was a bit different, and she had a number of different considerations in her trajectory after leaving the foster home. But as a result of my time in foster care and kind of dealing with all the challenges that a child and a family and painful circumstances that families experience when they're separated, when there's a lot of complex social issues, right? Things going on in the family. I've really, as a result, dedicated my life to wanting to give back to the system, to the community, and really wanting to make things so much better for others that came after me, who, whose journeys were as well challenging, and in many cases just, very, very much filled with trauma and difficult circumstances. And so for all of my career, I've been working in opportunities and positions to make changes, to help advance the system, to advocate, and really to be able to, help not only today's children and adults, but future generations to come, to be able to have, safe, permanent, and to be well in all, in all ways.
Yeah, people like you are such a blessing, giving the support to these families and these individuals that, a lot of cases don't have, anywhere else to go or don't know where to go. It's just so important. So I thank you for doing that for our community, and for looking out for people that have had it, rough, or not sure what they need, right? Um,
Mhm.
what kind of led you right to Cradle Beach though? What was the sort of that, where's the story there?
Yeah, so having worked in, the thick of things in child welfare, at two other organizations prior to coming to Cradle Beach, I had always referred children, particularly children in my programs and their families, to come to Cradle Beach, knowing that the summer camp program, knowing the incredible respite it provided, the enriching activities for children, and life-changing opportunities, and thinking about the population that we served. We have children who have experienced a lot, of
Mhm.
difficult family circumstances, and they're children who are able-bodied, who have different capacities, who might have some special needs or disabilities. But what I always knew is that Cradle Beach brought children together in all capacities and was able to, provide these life-changing and these, magical moments
Mhm.
for them to establish friendships, to have, to be out of their typical environments, experience something new, make new friends, and really to kind of learn a lot of values, and take advantage of this beautiful campus, and then bring it back to their communities and their families. And so with that being said, when the position, the chief executive officer position, was open, I looked into it because I didn't realize the extent of what Cradle Beach offered at that time. I was familiar
Mm.
with one, portion of the mission, but not necessarily realizing the full scope of it. So I looked into it, and, had really just, had a wonderful opportunity to meet the staff and the board and the individuals we serve, children and adults, and have been here just about 7.5 years.
Mhm. It's amazing, amazing. Um, so you've been talking about the programs, you've been talking about like your experience and what brought you there. Why don't we go a little deeper dive into like what Cradle Beach really offers, and kind of share with us, your, the major programs that you have, and kind of maybe where you're going to go, right?
Yeah, for sure. So starting with our summer camp, our overnight summer camp program operates as programming during the summer, which makes sense. So if
Hmm.
you think about the fact when children are finishing up school and are starting their summer vacation, that's when we are in full gear. Our
Hmm.
summer camp program starts with a pre-camp. We call it a pre-camp program. It's basically a training for our counselors who
Hmm.
we are hiring. We hire counselors, nurses, lifeguards, a number of key and vital positions who are really are the folks who are really making camp the incredible opportunity and experience it is over the summer. So that pre-camp is an opportunity for them to receive training and preparation, do simulations in anticipation of our campers coming. Our campers start coming. The first session we actually offer, this year we're offering 8 sessions of camp with a 9th session as well, with an additional program that we've just created. But the 8 sessions are typically they mirror each other. They're typically Monday through Friday. So we provide transportation support from the city of Buffalo to be able to help mitigate any type of transportation barriers and or ensure accessibility, you know, for families in need. That has been a growing need, and it's something that that has been really an important measure of support for our families and for our children, and also for our staff, where we've started providing support to really get staff out here too, to be able to do the job they love to do, being counselors for our summer camp program as well as our respite program, but also to ensure that we have equitable opportunities, you know, for communities who maybe where economic resources and or realizing that the bus lines are not favorable out in this, you know, geography, and it's very complex. So our summer camp program has 8 sessions. During the course of the time that children are here, they're participating in what we call play stations. There is a pretty in-depth application process that families complete, and that's intentional because their children are pretty much living with us. And in our children, you know, in a typical summer, we probably care for children who do have special needs. There's probably 100 different diagnoses. So that really requires us to have a really good, solid understanding of any of their needs, and making sure that, you know, we're providing the necessary training and measures of support to ensure safety, you know, for all children on our campus. So it's very, you know, we have a special skill set, and we're training all of our staff to ensure that, you know, their capabilities. So our summer camp season goes from, our first session this year is July 1st, and will run all the way through pretty much near the end of August. There are themes associated with each one of those weeks. It's a lot of fun. These are the moments that our children and our counselors look for and look towards all year round. So that's our summer camp program. We have an incredible tree house that is literally built in the trees. We have obviously beach activities. We have trails and streams and paved trails. A garden where we do farm to table and teaching kids about, you know, the opportunities, fresh foods. We have an inclusive, heated, accessible swimming pool, which we provide lifeguarding training, as well as children can come back year after year and earn their Red Cross levels in swimming and safety. Water safety, things of that nature.
Very cool. And I know the treehouse itself is accessible too, which is kind of unique and interesting, to be able to get up in there, and everyone can kind of get a view from the tree, right?
Oh,
So
it's beautiful. It's right on the water. You see the overview, a bird's eye of campus, as well as just the healing and the peace and the opportunity to see the view of the lake and the most beautiful sunsets that occur, you know, over the you know, over the shore.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Lake Erie has some great sunsets. I've
Yes.
done some time stop photography with that too, so
Oh,
uh
gorgeous.
love it.
Nothing like that.
So like how do families, how do children kind of get involved or get picked? Like you said there's a fairly intensive process for them to fill out forms. So like I guess who's eligible, who's able to go? Like how does that work?
Yeah. So So our eligibility, we'll start with our summer camp program. Families can call and refer, right? Can give us a call and find out more information. We actually just had an open house last weekend, but they can always call, reach out, come for a tour of our campus in advance, or stop by even when we have a respite weekend going on, when our camp staff can give them a tour, share more about the program, and also kind of orient their child to what's offered. But really the eligibility criteria is age 8 and above, and that the child's needs are such that we are able to safely care for them. And we are able to provide the necessary supports without actual, very extreme behavioral means may not be best suited for our environment, just due to, some of the regulatory requirements that we have. We really focus on de-escalation measures and, opportunities for physical means. But, we have children who have very, very unique and rare diagnoses. We have children who have mobility impairments and or other differences that we care for. And so their parent or their caregiver is completing an application. They're sending in a physical, any type of maybe care plans or behavioral care plans, medication information. We're reviewing that, and then they also choose what activities the children, children get to choose what activities they'd like to participate in, and then they're sending it in for review and ultimately for enrollment. And then as we get closer to the camp season starting, we're sending out those confirmations, and we're then organizing any type of transportation supports or drop off. And at that point in time, they're coming in and they're gearing up for a week of incredible fun and friendship.
That's awesome. Awesome. And
Yeah.
I know it takes a village. You can't like necessarily do this alone. You've got, a great staff. You've got counselors. You've got lifeguards. You've got probably a bunch of organizations that are sort of helping by partnering with you. Can
Oh,
you
yeah.
share a little bit about those partnerships, and then, maybe how some of the listeners can get involved, or some needs that you have, volunteering, or whatever there may be that could help Cradle Beach and your staff kind of continue to offer such a great experience for kids.
Yeah, thank you for really highlighting that, because our volunteers, our community, our supporters mean the world to us. We have been a lot of camps that are seasonal in nature really have a hard time sustaining, over the years. And certainly COVID was a huge
Yeah.
impact for everybody, right? And so as a result of our community and our supporters, our corporations, our individual donors, and it's donors in all aspects, right? They're donating time, talent, their treasure, in-kind support. The volunteers, we are so fortunate and blessed to have a number of different community organizations who come and they help us get our campus open for camp to start, right? So we winterize any of the buildings we're not using in the winter. We are here 24/7 year round. So we are operating year round, but what is needed in order to get us up and running is substantial. And we have a very small facilities team. So we rely heavily on volunteers. And we have an incredible partnership this year with, and actually the last few years with M&T Bank that has done a corporate adoption partnership. We also have a number of incredible corporations in the community who come and support us year after year through the United Way Day of Caring, through their own, a number of banks, additional banks and investment organizations and businesses who really partner with us in order to get 66 acres ready and beautified
Yeah.
for our families. it's a big task, and they have truly allowed us to be able to do it that much more seamless, and really, being prepared for day one, which is incredible.
Awesome. Yeah. So takes a lot of people to help, and I'm glad that you have that support and can always use more. So listeners, if you're looking for an experience, I've done the day of caring. I used to do that when I was at Mackay. I miss it. Because
Yeah.
we don't do it where I currently am, at least as far as I know. So you'll have to let me know when that is. And I'll drop in and I'll help Cradle Beach on that day because that would be
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. The one thing that I would add is what's really great is that there's a lot of opportunities to support. And so even outside of the day of caring, we will really customize opportunities for organizations and corporations and volunteer groups to come in, whether it be during our camp season, whether it be before or even after,
Mhm.
to help close camp for the winter. But it's a really team building opportunity for the
Yeah.
groups that come, and they have a great time. Many of them are working out of their homes,
Mhm.
these days. And so they come together, it's just on the water and the warmth and the sun, and it really is an incredible opportunity. And there's great need in giving back to an incredible community, incredible organization, and a mission that has been sustainable because of our supporters.
Yeah, it is like you just reminded me. I have shared in the show before, like places like this are not an opportunity for businesses and corporations and all that stuff to get together and do you know donate their time together. And it is such a like an opportunity to build team cohesion and to have fun while
Yes,
supporting a great cause. And you will fall in love with this place because like I totally did. It has always been on my mind, kind of like how we've always been circling back to try to get this, this podcast recording
that's right.
together. I keep coming back. But it's a place that I've always wanted to be more involved with, and I think, anyone that visits will want that just as much. So,
Yeah,
uh,
thank you.
yeah.
I really talked a lot about our summer camp program, and talked a little bit about our respite program. Our respite program is open to individuals, children and adults, who are served through the Office of Persons with Developmental Disabilities. And
Mhm.
so anybody who applies to that program, our application is online and or paper if somebody prefers. But our, individuals are coming on Friday, they're overnight until Sunday, and it is allowing a time for their caregivers to tend to their own self-care needs, to kind of, rejuvenate themselves, and to be able to then allow their loved ones an opportunity to have those same enriching experiences here on
Mhm.
campus. The a recent addition, and kind of what's new, and
Mhm.
what's been on the horizon, as we mentioned earlier, is that we now have a program that's in partnership with a number of other foundations and organizations. It's called our Pathways for Caregivers
Mhm.
program. This is an extension of our respite program, and it serves caregivers of family caregivers of aging loved ones,
Mhm.
many of whom have memory impairments. It's not necessarily always the case, but so it's with a partnership of Harmonia Collaborative Care, which
Mhm.
is a organization out here in Derby and in Hamburg that specializes in senior services, as well as mental health and behavioral health supports. And then we also have a woman, a consultant, who has worked and has a lot of expertise in the older adults community.
Mhm.
And so we are partnering on a grant with the Ralph Wilson Foundation and the Health Foundation for Western and Central New York, um, through an Exhale initiative. It's about giving support to these caregivers who are caring for their aging loved ones and are sacrificing their own health as a result.
Mhm.
So we have now a support group program. We have monthly day respite caregivers and their loved ones, where caregivers can choose to drop them off. They can participate in a caregiver community support group, and then also do some fun things for themselves while their loved ones are also, working with trained volunteers and having their own enrichment activities. So that's becoming really very popular, and we're doing a lot of outreach for that program and looking for sponsors to help us sustain it.
That's a terrific addition. And, being with my past experience with the Alzheimer's, and I know that's super important to give the opportunity for the elder and the caregivers, right? The caregivers,
Yes.
it's a job that's 24/7, and they don't get a break. And allowing them to get that opportunity, even to enjoy it with their loved one, is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, it as much as they love that person, they wanna take care of them all the time, and they a lot of them don't. They want the help, but they don't want to admit they want the help, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
It sounds like just a great opportunity to kinda give them the support and assistance that they need to take a breath.
that's
Um,
right.
yeah,
And that's
and
indeed, I mean,
yeah,
you couldn't say it anymore. It's like, that's the nature of the initiative, is called Exhale.
right.
And it's exactly about that. What's nice is that it is, and I know you're out in, right, the Rochester way, but
Mhm,
this initiative is, there's a number of Exhale projects that
mhm,
are throughout, Western New York. So in Erie County, there's five, projects alone. Our Pathways is one of them, the
mhm,
Pathways program, but there is a lot of programs that, and really with the growing number of caregivers and knowing, the impact that dementia and Alzheimer's has, and those growing numbers as well, this is necessitated for our future, not just
mhm.
now, but back, I said we're pretty much creating programs, for our future selves
Yeah.
and our caregivers and loved ones.
Yeah. And, it also, I thank you for bringing that all up, because I did ask, well, what was happening in the future? And we kind of went around in a little bit of a different avenue, and you brought it back. But one of the things that, sort of popped in my head when you were talking about this initiative is, I really love that Cradle Beach is one of those nonprofit organizations that also helps and connects with other nonprofits to accomplish, like,
Yeah.
parallel missions, right? Some nonprofits are not into that at all, and I think it's so important that we all kind of take this as a community effort, right? There's things that you specialize in and other organizations specialize in, and why not work together? So I think that, this initiative is great because you're partnering with other services and organizations in the area, and I know that you're also, writing, co-authoring grants with other organizations
Yeah.
to help as many people as you can. Um,
Yeah, it's that, I think the collective impact, right? As we
mhm,
look at, there are so many nonprofits and who are all providing crucial missions. But yet what we know is that the landscape surrounding, right, philanthropy
mhm,
and supports and whatnot, and everything else happening in our economic, with our economic circumstances is we are all kind of leaning on each other, right, for
mhm,
both support, but then also to explore what can we do so that we are all providing the greatest impact to those folks that we serve,
mhm,
but yet trying to reduce costs, increasing, efficiencies and effectiveness, but ensuring that our program dollars, folks who are investing in us, our regulatory bodies, that we're providing the greatest collective impact, with the most fiscally conscious, investment,
mhm.
to but yet to stay sustainable.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, Questions pop in my head. It's a bit of a stumper question sometimes. So, but if money was no object, right? What is it that big dream that you have for Cradle Beach? What is something that you'd love to see happen?
Well, I've always said my big audacious, right? My big audacious goal would be that every single person right, who is within our vicinity and within our reach, whether it be a child, a youth, an adolescent, an adult, a senior, would all have an opportunity to come to Cradle Beach, to experience what it is that, the hope, the inspiration, right, the growth that occurs, and the joy to be able to see it all come together, both in ways through our programming, but also just by virtue of being here on our campus.
Mhm.
And so that is the most simplistic, right?
Right.
Is having everybody be able to be touched by our mission
Mhm.
and by the beauty of our campus. Financially, in order for us to be able to be around for, another 136 years and beyond,
Mhm.
we are blessed by being um, a partner here right on the water with Mother Nature, right? And,
Mhm.
and with the land. The challenge has been that very same challenge, is because there's a lot of challenges with with everything going on with our weather, right?
Mhm.
Our coastal erosion. We're losing some of our land as a result of the weather patterns being right on the water. And it takes a toll on our campus, and
Yeah.
all of those facilities. So I guess, if I had the magic wand, I would have an endowment of funds that we can keep in perpetuity to both support the facilities needs, but then also the growing financial needs of families to be able to help support, you know, um, children coming to Cradle Beach to have this incredible opportunity. It's estimated in order for a child to, for a week here, of everything that they would get, right, through all of that time, it's probably about $1,600 for the
Mhm.
week. And families can't pay that, right?
Yeah.
They're contributing on a sliding fee scale, and that's where our fundraising is so essential and
Mhm.
critical. And it's been impacted, given the extent of needs that exist. So
Right.
those are, there's a number of those wish list items.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I get it, and it takes nature takes its toll, especially in Western New York, right? And being right on the lake doesn't necessarily help, other than
Yeah.
it being super beautiful and great when it's summer. It's
Yes.
also, yeah,
Yeah.
it takes its toll on a camp
Yeah,
facility.
and not only in the water, but the other perimeter is we have, about 2/3 of our 66-acre campus was woodlands,
Yeah.
right, with paved trails, and we've lost a lot of trees there because of the emerald ash borer
Mhm.
beetle, right, that
Yeah.
basically decays trees over the years. So we are also, one of those wish lists is working on reforestation for
Mhm.
the next generation of, trees, and ensuring, the forest health and canopy, and, kind of rebuilding that from
Mhm.
the devastating loss of this beetle.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that when I was last there, you were trimming back some of the
Yeah,
woodlands. Probably
yeah,
still trimming back some of the woodlands.
yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a
No,
work in
I
process. So if anybody, if we're always searching for donors, right, who might have particular areas of interest in these spaces, and or contacts and in-kind resources, who may
Mhm.
be interested in doing some volunteer support
Yeah, no.
and or funding. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone that's listening that might be interested or has some contacts, definitely reach out to Ann-Marie and Cradle Beach. We'll have all that information in the show notes of how to contact her and how to follow Cradle Beach and how to be and get involved. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you definitely want to share with the audience?
Well, just that we have, we have special events. Cradle Beach is a part of our fundraising is offering special events. We have a meat raffle actually coming up April 12th. We
Mhm,
have a golf tournament in July. All of that information is available on our website, which I know will be listed as well.
mhm.
But we're also hiring, right? We're in that process now where this is an important time because we are always looking for awesome support to come work for us over the summer. So it's a busy time hiring,
Mhm.
and we're, the opportunity to get immersive experiences being here on site and in any area of curriculum, right? Whether it be
Yeah.
recreation or healthcare or special education or education,
Mhm.
the amount of immersive experiences are children who come to camp oftentimes grow up through the years and then come back as our pioneer campers, right? Which
Mhm.
are our older teenagers, and then ultimately to our young staff, which are like counselors in training. And so there's a lot of opportunities for growing leadership. And when folks think about a camp counselor role, unless you've done it or you have a connection, you don't realize the amount of skills that folks
Yeah.
learn and take away and the amount of impact that it truly has in helping everybody become their best self. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of opportunities. So reach out if anybody's interested in joining the team and learning more.
Yeah, it is a great experience. I have not done it for Cradle Beach, but I've done it for another camp, and I tell you, it's so beautiful to be out there. You're helping kids, you're helping families, you're doing so many different things. There's just so many ways to get involved
That's
at
right.
Cradle Beach that we probably could have like another couple of episodes to kind of talk about
Exactly.
all the things you could do.
That's right.
But Anne-Marie, thank you so much for being on. That sounds terrific. You definitely have a terrific camp and cause, and I love your staff. I love everything that you guys are doing. And I can't wait to come back and visit. And I really hope
Anytime. You're
that
welcome.
yeah, and I really hope that listeners will take me up on arranging a time for themselves to go out and check out Cradle Beach.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nick. It's been a pleasure, and you're doing incredible job sharing all these rich assets, right, and opportunities with our community and making everybody much more informed. So thank you for what you're doing as well as in the community.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Don't forget to check out the show notes and our website at thatsoundsterrific.com to find the contact information and the best ways to volunteer with the organizations that we feature. If you know someone that is doing terrific things and think they should be featured in a future episode, be sure to email us their name, contact info, and short description of what they're doing at thatsoundsterrific@gmail.com. If you like our show, give us a 5-star rating and give us some social media love by liking our Facebook page, That Sounds Terrific. Follow us on Twitter at Sounds Terrific 2 and Instagram at Sounds Terrific. We love hearing your feedback on how to make our show sound even more terrific. Till next time.